Is it just me, or has everything changed? Where is everyone? They're not out buying records. They're not at the pictures. Global ticket sales are falling. The kids are deserting TV in their droves. And no one's hanging about reading the papers either. So where are they? They're online. And they're building a new world there.
This is the story of how the World Wide Web and its users are changing Western culture. It's the story of the overwhelming trend of our age, the transformation of physical matter into bits of digital data. And the story of how that is changing the way art and culture are made, shared, and experienced. Western culture, for the past 100 years or so, has been made by the few for the many. But that's changing.
Mass media, as we have known it, is over. And it's over for two reasons. The mass is over, and the media has changed.
And now we have, instead, the ability for everybody on the planet to talk with everybody else.
At the present time, there is a creative explosion as we unleash the creative power of millions of people.
All of a sudden, there's an enormous range of things you can do without needing to ask for either help or permission. And that's new.
So this is my journey into the World Wide Web. How it began, who's hanging out there, and where it's taking us.
It's not definitive. How could it be, with billions of web pages and web users to take into account? But it is my attempt to make sense of a bunch of emerging voices. Remember James Joyce in Finnegan's Wake? "Here comes everybody," he wrote. That's pretty much the way it works on the web, too. But the story begins before any of these people were born, even before I was born. I could tell you that it all starts in the Victorian age, with Charles Babbage and his analytical engine, the first machine we could really call a computer. We could begin in 1949. I was in nappies in South London, and up in Cambridge, a man named Maurice Wilkes was ushering in the modern computer age with the EDSAC, the world's first practical programmable computer. It was the basis of the machines we use today. I could tell you it all really kicks off with the launch of the Sputnik in the USSR on
October 4th, 1957. On the launching pad is Sputnik Zemlya First, freely translated to mean traveling companion to the Earth. The Soviet Union is launching the first Earth satellite.
America was humiliated by the launch of Sputnik. President Eisenhower pumped money into military research and development. And the internet, a network of electronic roads crisscrossing the world, ultimately grew out of that investment. That paved the way for the brilliant Doug Engelbart. Way back in '68, the year I joined the BBC, and students rioted in Paris, this chap was demonstrating what he called his online system, featuring the world's first mouse.
I don't know why we call it a mouse. Sometimes I apologize. It started that way, and we never did change it.
So these men, and thousands more pioneers like them, have pushed things on through the decades, paving the way for us all to relate to our computers differently. The boy in blue is a student. He's part of the generation who use these machines in an instinctive way.
This is Toby, and Toby is... Say hi then.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. So Toby is a friend of a friend of a friend, and Toby is my helper.
Toby's going to show me around the World Wide Web. But before we get any further, I need to take time out to do a little reading. Camp cookery, ulcerations, dyeing the hair. This extraordinary Victorian volume is called Inquire Within Upon Everything. Piles. Precautions in case of fire. Biting the nails. If a lady's dress takes fire, she should endeavour to roll herself in a rug. It reads like a portal to a world of bizarrely connected information and ideas. Onions, opium, married women, marmalade, stewed watercress. It's everything you could possibly want. This book intrigued a little boy called Tim. It inspired the name of a computer program he wrote called Inquire, which would eventually give rise to his incredible creation, the World Wide Web.
Do you feel like a techie or creative yourself?
I take great exception to your using those two words as opposites. Techies and creatives. I mean, one of the things I learned from my parents early on was that, is that computer science is incredibly creative art. When you create a computer program, you are building a new world. You're in a godlike way laying down the rules as to how it works, and you are watching how it develops, and you're trying to make it so that it will develop and do what you want. It's an incredibly creative process. It has all a lot of the hallmarks of other creativity, such as art and music, in that happens subconsciously while you're in the shower, or while you're chatting to people about something completely different, gazing at the mountains.
Tim was working as a computer programmer here at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, when he began to work on the web in his spare time. He took an established idea, hypertext, and figured out how it could work globally on the internet. The links you click on the web, the ones that take you to other places and let you share ideas, they're hypertext. And so it all began. One man's creativity fueling the creativity of millions of others. Tim was determined that the web be free to use, with no patent and no royalties due, and he wouldn't have it any other way.
The decision to say, well, I want to make this available to everybody. I don't want this to be a proprietary right from which money is made and where ownership is anybody's. Did you have to think hard about that, or was that...
That was not a decision, really. That was the way things happened on the internet. What people did was they put out a request for comments, you know, they put out a hey, what do you think about this idea, circulated it, and people would comment on it, and the thing would evolve in a very collaborative way. That was the ethos by which the network had been designed up till then, and still is largely. It wasn't until the dot-com boom that there was a lot of pressure from some parties to try and get a stranglehold on a particular area and extract money from it.